Shalom, shalom. Hey, I got the $1 million question, right? For those that claim the mark of the beast is a microchip, right? With everything going on in the earth, who's going to implement the mark of the beast? What nation is going to implement the mark of the beast? Because if you say it's all white people, you got to be specific, because obviously Russia is not doing what America is doing. China is not doing what America is doing. Iran is definitely not doing what America is doing. What nations or what white nation is going to implement the mark of the beast? Because if you say it's America, then obviously it ain't going to be the whole world. So this is where the doctrine kind of falls very short. It takes a deep dive very short. If the mark of the beast is going to be a worldwide thing and you can't eat, right, and drink and buy and sell, right, all of this stuff with a physical chip, the $1 million question is, who's going to implement it? And I'm going to leave y'all with that, right? Because obviously the nations ain't getting along. And whatever NATO's doing, BRICS ain't with it. And whatever BRICS is doing, NATO ain't with it. So who's going to implement it? This is why I don't subscribe, and neither do the servants subscribe to the mark of the beast being a microchip.
I want to give all praise, honor, and glory.
All right. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, before we get started, as always, we're going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakadosh. Which Yahweh, that's the name of the Heavenly Father. Yahweh Shai, that's whom this world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, it's his true name. And the Rachakadosh, that is the Holy Spirit. And we also would like to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And salutations to all you brothers out there. And we want to talk about this video clip that you just saw, which is concerning Chief Ephraim's statement on who's going to implement the microchip, all right? You know, he says he doesn't believe that, you know, that is the MOTB, you know, Revelation 13 and 16, because he, you know, how he sees everything is, you know, all these different nations, they're divided, okay? And with that being said, there's no way that they're all going to be in agreement, okay, with this being implemented, all right, in the world, with the people having to take it, okay? Which I'll say this, bro, it doesn't matter what you think, okay? Get real quick, Romans 3 and 3. We'll start off with that real quick, because look, well, we don't care, all right, if you believe this doctrine or not. Look, these things are going to happen whether you like it, believe it or not. That's just facts, all right, because it's in the scriptures. Okay, but you got that Romans 3 and 3?
Yes, sir, got it. This is the book of Romans chapter 3 and verse 3. For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect?
Keep reading.
Verse 4. Yahweh forbid, yea, let the Most High be true, but every man a liar, as it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings, and that thou mightest overcome when thou art judged.
And so point being, though, is, look, these things are going to come to pass whether you believe it or not. All right? This is the will of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. And look, even if these nations seem like they're divided, right? Which they are to a degree, ultimately, this is Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai's movie. He get real quick in the book of Proverbs. I think the 23rd chapter, where it says the king's heart, meaning his mind, is in the hand of the Lord. Look, the Lord can make these nations do whatever he wants, man. And best believe he's going to put a spirit on them to start, doing that fusion, all right, with, man and technology, transhumanism. And that's something I'll say that all these nations are really in agreement on. Look, it doesn't matter if you, look into, the tech world of America, the tech world of Japan, China, Russia, so on and so forth. These nations are pushing that transhumanism vibration right now, okay? And that's really because that's the will of the Lord. Because Revelation 13 and 16 has to come to pass. And all these other doctrines where, they say, sin is the MOTB, that doesn't make any goddamn sense, man. Okay? Because look, according to Revelation, the 14th chapter, if we take the MOTB, right, it says that you'll be destroyed.
Yeah.
So that means all of us are going to be destroyed then. That right there alone shows the flaw in it. You know what I'm saying? Okay? So it can't be sin. If you say it's sleeping with the white woman, you're out of your goddamn mind. You're just through. Okay? Where does it say that we can't deal with the heathen women? That's ridiculous, man. That's bonkers, man. Literally.
I guess King Solomon took the MOTB when he had the Edomite concubines.
Exactly, Ak. We don't even have to get into this, man. That's a whole, another lesson. It's just stupidity, though, If you have, a half of a brain. And whatever these guys say, it's changed so much throughout the years, okay? The only thing that's logical and that makes sense, and that's really according to the scriptures, is this chip, all right? And everything's going digital right now. Everything is going digital. It doesn't matter what country you're in, they're pushing to use digital currency, right? Pay with, Apple Pay, pay with Android Pay. Use, cryptocurrency. You see? But, get that scripture that I called that, Proverbs.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 21, and verse 1. And it says, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, as the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will.
Exactly. So the Lord can do whatever he wants. And I best believe these nations are all in agreement, with this MOTB doctrine. All right, or not doctrine, but technology. They're all into transhumanism. But I'll say this, yeah, America's going to be the ones in the forefront to really push it. Okay? And these other countries, like he's an idiot. He clearly doesn't deal with, you can tell he doesn't really, keep up with the news and all that. You know what I'm saying? Because really, right now, out there in China and these different Asian countries, that's the test run for all this stuff. When you go to, China, Japan, South Korea, they don't even use paper money anymore like that.
No.
It's basically looked at as either you're an elderly person if you use paper currency, or you're like a weirdo. You're very strange. They all use, digital payments. That's known out there. You see? Just go, look that stuff up. It's not, it's not really that hard. Type in a few keywords in YouTube or Google, you know what I'm saying? Or one of these other search engines and you'll find it. TikTok. So that statement's very foolish. Okay? But like I said, America's going to be the one that's really going to, be in the forefront. Because this is the head of the what? The beast.
Yeah.
Okay? And guess what? The beast does run the earth. All right? Even though, yeah, America is falling, we all know that, but America is still on top. And best believe it does influence the rest of the world. Why do you think the scriptures talk about, they drank of that wine?
Wine of the fornication.
Okay? This guy's a fucking idiot, man. Just a proud Ephraimite. Proud. That's why you call yourself Chief Ephraim. Who declared you to be the chief, you know what I'm saying, of the Ephraimites? Dude's a goddamn joke. But what else did we need to get where it says, I think was it Revelation 3? It talks about how the whole world's going to be basically like tested.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking
about. Oh my God, I don't know why. Was it 3 and 15?
Yeah, something like that. It's 3 and 10.
Okay, Con, got the water, brother.
Con, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 3, and verse 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world, to try them that dwell upon the earth.
Exactly. So this thing is going to happen worldwide. The Lord is going to test, the people, in particular the Israelites. Are you going to bow down to Esau, Edom, or are you going to bow down to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai? Okay. You see, that's the that ultimate test. Are you going to have faith that the Lord is going to take care of you? Or are you going to, submit yourself to this Edomite? You see? And we know, according to the scriptures, that that the Lord has reserved, 7,000 that shall not bow, the knee to the image of Baal, which we know the 7,000 is just a number of completion now. And the modern day image of Baal is the image of the beast. Okay? You see? This current system that we're living in. And mind you, the image is not talking, I'll say this because you got certain camps out there that actually think that, white JC, right, is that, the image of the beast. No, the image of the beast is going into the philosophies, the ideologies that the people have. Okay? The way of living, basically. That's what it goes into. All right? And there's going to be that small remnant that's going to say, nope. The hell with that. Kill me. I'd rather die before bowing down to this goddamn devil. You see? And look, we live in a society, right? Because the scriptures say, in Deuteronomy the 28th chapter, right? We shall go to him for the want of all things. This man has the power. This man owns all this land, owns all the resources, owns all the, the currency. He runs all these governments. You know what I'm saying? So this is really to test us. Are we down for Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai or not? Because the only way to get Revelation 13 and 16 now, Ark, the only way you can buy or sell is if you have this in you, man. Okay? Because look, with all the things that are happening worldwide, it's giving Esau justification to actually push this. They purposely allow all these immigrants into this country, right? And I'm not just talking about Northern Kingdom and a couple Southern Kingdom. I'm saying, look, Esau allowed all these East Indians to come in here. All these, South Sudanese people to come in here. All these different, Iranians, okay? These different, Arab nations. He allowed them to come in here on purpose. Because they're going to, through the Spirit, there's going to be more chaos, more, whether it be actual planned organic, attacks, or whether it be a false flag, right? They're going to allow these things to happen So they can say, look, man, so much is going on. Oh, then you got all these riots and protests, right? People stealing, left and right. People getting, gunned down left and right. They're going to say, look, in order to, function in our society, you need this device. It's just an upgraded version of what? The Social Security, the your ID, your birth certificate. That's all it is. It's an upgraded version of it.
All in one.
All in one. Your medical records, because then they're going to start playing with that too again. Well, we see that you didn't get your yearly shot. I'll just put it like that. You might be carrying some type of life-threatening disease. You see? This guy doesn't think that these nations are gonna, you know what I'm saying? Be in alignment, with that. Because look, it doesn't matter if it's an American Edomite. It doesn't matter if it's a Russian Edomite. It doesn't matter if it's a Moabite, so on and so forth, right? It doesn't matter. They all want power. Who's ever on top wants power. You see? And this is the best way to control people. With this transhumanism. Because look, hey, if you get out of line, I can just cut you off. All right, but get that, Ak.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 13 and verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a charagma in their right hand or in their foreheads.
Exactly. And that the brother used the Greek word, and that's actually heavy. All right, look it up real quick. Just for edification's sake.
The word for M-A-R-K is the Greek word charagma. And it means a stamp and imprinted mark.
Yeah, an imprinted mark. That means that you basically, your skin has to get pierced, man. Keep going. Is there any more?
It says, or a M-A-R-K stamped on the forehead or the right hand as a badge of the followers of the anti-Hamashiach.
Basically, that stuff's kind of going off. You know what I mean? But in a sense, it's on point. Basically, you're worshiping and aligning yourself with this system. So let me see what else.
Yeah. Then it says the brand upon horses, because the Romans, they would brand their runaway slaves, with a mark on their body. Here
we go.
So
when you go into the there we go. This is really what I wanted. When you go into the root word, it's karax. All right, yeah. A pail or stake. And when you have a stake, that you know what I'm saying? That's like a wooden instrument that's meant to pierce through something. So that's what this thing. Before they put the actual chip in you, they have to pierce your skin. You see?
They have to make that incision.
Yep, exactly, Ak. You see? But read it again, though. Revelation 13 and 16, read the verse itself.
Revelation 13 and 16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a charagma in their right hand or in their foreheads.
So it doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. It doesn't matter if your economic, class. Or is it what is it?
Free or bond.
Free or bond doesn't matter. Your status, if you're freely walking around or you're in prison. What is it? Small and great. Doesn't matter about your age, because that's what that goes into. You're gonna have to deal with this at some point. All right. Read 17.
Verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell save he that hath the charagma.
Buy or sell. And like I said, isn't everything going digital? Yep. And see, his own mouth condemned him. Talking about China, blah, blah. Like I said, these Asian countries, all right, they're like the experiment, you know what I'm saying? For Esau. They're experimenting out there first. Because I'll say this, Moab and Ammon, they're like very, what's the word I'm looking for? They like follow orders, for lack of words. They're compliant. You know what I'm saying? See, like, in the States and different areas, they got a different spirit. Moab and Ammon, they just follow whatever their government tells them to do. You know? You see? And these countries, they're, like I said, they're already pushing it. No, like I said, none of the newer generation even uses cash out there. And like I literally seen a video on it. The only people who use physical cash anymore is the elderly. And like I said, people who they would deem as being odd or weird, you know? They actually look down upon it like, oh, you're using cash? Ugh. Watch these videos. And then you got to remember, these Asian countries surpass, the West's, technology. Mm-hmm. That's facts. You go to Tokyo, you go to these different, major cities in China, right? Like, literally, their cities are just over the top.
Yeah, I seen something that they got like a car that can turn into a boat or something along those lines. Man. They
got these different, when it snows, they got literally like different, I forgot how they did it exactly, but pretty much they got like heated roads. So there's like no ice on the roads ever. It's some off-the-wall shit, basically. That's just to name a few things. Come on, man. But is there any more? Yeah, read the last one.
Verse 18, it says, here is the wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the charagma, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
Yeah, and that's chai stigma. All right. When you go into those numbers, and that one of the if you can get I believe it's the last one. All right, for the 600. Where is it at?
Oh yeah, 603 scoring 6 right here.
One of them goes into stigma. Salakia.
I think.
Yep, right here. When you go into that word, what is this? What word was that that you clicked on?
It was stigma.
Not stigma. Right here, 603 scoring 6. So when you go in, what the hell? Can you do it real quick, Salakia? When you go into that Greek word, right? We're gonna get it, but we want to get the root word of it. Can you get it real quick for me? Here we go. So it's is it crox? Okay, that's the original Greek word for it. But we got to go into, like I said, the root word, and it's stigma, and it says what here? A mark pricked in or branded upon the body. So when you prick something, that means you're breaking the skin apart. And like I said, in order to get that chip in you, you have to break you have to pierce your skin first. Yeah. In order for there to be an opening, and then you can put the chip in there. This guy's an idiot. But you know what it is, man? I'll say this, man, because this has been brought out before. You might be a goddamn agent, man, for all we know.
Paid off.
Because, hey, you got to remember, this is the same guy that was out there during the riots, man. When they stormed the Capitol. He was out there teaching. He was all in the news and all that shit. You know what I'm saying?
That's folly, man.
This is the same guy that's telling you all to go to Atlanta and build a community. What are you talking about? Build a community when America's going to be destroyed? You're through, man. This guy's a goddamn demon. Who knows who this guy is? Okay? And if you're not an agent for Esau, you're an agent for Satan. You got spirits on you, man. We're going to keep cutting this bullshit that you guys, come up with. Goddamn devil. I'm so tired of these false prophets. May the Lord start slaying them. Slaying them, man. Make them public examples. But you have anything else, Ak?
No, that was pretty much it.
Yeah, so, we just wanted to touch on this real quick. Wanted to do a little in-trans before we get to class. All right? This guy, Chief Ephraim, is just spewing out madness once again. Okay? You know, what else is new, right? These guys, you know, whether it be him, whether it be IUIC, Sakari, Genesis, the Glizzy Gobbler, whoever, right? You know, the Boston Bugouts, the BB Boys. They all just spew out madness. It's at least one of them once a week. Or at least every other week, some BS comes up. The hell with you guys, man. The Lord's going to deal with you. And with that, you know, whoever was listening, we hope this was edifying. And with that, we're going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Also, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And salutations to all you brothers out there. Shalom and a Baba Ball. Shalom.